Good morning. Last week when we began December, we started with a review of our movement's statement of belief. And this week our topic is an extension of that. The title is A Personal Experience of the Divine. At the Center for Spiritual Living, we teach people how to use 5 spiritual practices, which when used, these practices, we believe, can lead to thank you for laughing, they can lead to a personal experience of the divine. And sometimes we call these practices the 5 pillars of our teaching, and these are what they are. Affirmative prayer, meditation, that's contemplative practices, mindfulness practices, charitable giving, to keep us in a state of gratitude, selfless service to help us keep connected to our compassionate heart and to the larger community, and spiritual study so that we don't get stuck in a rut of our own thinking. Now today I'm going to invite you to think of these 5 practices in a different way. Think of them in the form of, say, spokes, 5 spokes on the wheel of a bicycle, something like this. Now, I'm sure if you've been here a while, you know I talk about cycling endlessly because I enjoy it so very much. And we're starting to train. We have a team at the Center of Cyclists. There's 10 of us, and we're getting ready to go on the 545-mile ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles to raise money again for AIDS and HIV awareness and services in Los Angeles and San Francisco. Anyway, thank you. So we're starting to train, and I was remembering, I was on a training ride with a whole bunch of people on the team, and one of my friends, a spoke came out of his wheel. It broke. And I thought to myself, that's it, we're done. Now we're going to have to get somebody to come pick him up and the whole thing. But no, apparently not. A more experienced rider carefully removed the broken spoke, and then he adjusted the spokes around it, redistributing the tension. And my friend got right back on the bicycle, and it turns out you can keep on going for quite some time with a missing spoke. But eventually there's going to be a problem. Because now you have got a weakness in the system. There's too much pressure on the rest of the spokes. It's like you've got too many expectations of the remaining spokes, So over time, what happens is the weight distribution gets out of sync, and that can lead to instability. And some of the other spokes can fail too, because now they have to carry more weight. So thinking about your own spiritual habits in terms of these 5 spokes, do you have any weak or missing spokes? Or another way of asking is, what needs to change for you to have a more balanced ride through your spiritual life? Or how about thinking about this way? What kind of person would you be in this world? How would you show up if you had more and then what the missing thing is? If there was more selfless service, a little more in your life, how would things change for you? Today, a common missing spoke when it comes to spiritual living is that of meditation. It's very common for people to say, I don't do that. It's a practice that apparently doesn't fit easily into our fast-paced world. I think it's because we've got all of the stimulation. It comes from everywhere, the internet, advertising, life, politics, everything, as if everything is competing for our attention. People tell me that they have got such a crazy busy mind that meditation feels unnatural, annoying, awkward. And then when they finally do sit still, they discover that there is so much in their mind to process, to think about, to sort through, to worry about, to dream about, to look forward to be excited about. In my opinion, there's never been a better time to meditate. A time when meditation could be more appropriate than now, even needed. To me, it's the medicine for an overly busy lifestyle. It's the spoke in my life that brings balance and helps carry the living weight of a spiritual practice. The author of the recommended book, Living Presence, he talks about meditation in a particular way. He calls it polishing the mirror of the mind. And he describes it as a process of awakening from sleep. He talks about it as cultivating the awareness of the real you, the living spirit within you. I love that image, polishing the mirror of the mind, cleaning the mirror of our mind so that we can see better what's in it. You know, on Sunday mornings, I'm up at 5 a.m. already, getting myself all collected and ready for work. And eventually at some point when I'm all dressed up and I hop into the car, off I go. Except sometimes in the winter, in the cold mornings, I get in the car and there's this frost on the windshield. And if I don't notice it, I get into the driver's seat and I look up and realize I'm not going anywhere. You know, I can't see what's going on. It would be dangerous for me to drive to work, no matter what a good person I am. No matter that I have really good plans and fine intentions. No matter that I prayed. No, I have to first remove the frost with a cloth. And if it's particularly cold, I have to get out and go back inside and get some warm water to remove it from the screen. And I was just thinking about that. It's the same process, polishing the mirror of the mind. It's the same thing, you know. Got me to thinking, what is it that makes a mind dirty? Or let me say it this way. What makes it so that we can't see where we're going or what's going on? Oh, just everything. Could be something wonderful. Could be something disturbing. It could be a troubling relationship. It could be an exciting new relationship. It could be politics, uncertainty, the economy, retirement, vacation, relocation. It could be a shopping list. It could be hopes. It could be fears. It could be dreams. It could be desires, ambitions. It could be fake news stories. Could be real news stories. Could be advertisements. It could be special offers, promises of easy fame and wealth, bargains, sales, regrets, urgent decisions, passions, obsessions. Not all the things that occupy our thinking are bad. It's just that when the surface gets super busy with them, it can be that that's all we think about. Now imagine if I studied the frost on the window of my car instead of looking where I was going. It's kind of like a person who is fascinated with the surface of the mind. I have conflict. I need a resolution. I'm worried. I need inner peace. The world isn't working out the way I want to. I want reassurance. And there is nothing wrong with these desires, but today I'm inviting you to reframe it and think about it in a different way. Imagine if the mirror of your mind was clear. Or even better still, imagine that it doesn't matter what is on the surface to you because you can see through to what is the truth of your being. You know that beyond all of the activity of your mind, there is a clear picture of your life, the real you. I've been thinking about that. How might that change the way I move through the world if I were certain of that. And how do we get there? How do we get to the place where whatever is on the surface doesn't disturb me? Well, one way we recommend is to spend time daily polishing the mirror of the mind by taking time to sit with nothing more than an attitude of listening inwardly. And the author of the book says that this will lead us to a kind of awakening to a sensitive awareness. Now, this special awareness is not that unusual. Many of us stumble upon it, encounter it in our lives. We just didn't notice. Here's what he says about it. Almost everyone has some area of life in which this sensitive awareness is developed. Some find it in painting. Some find it in playing softball. Others in meeting people, and still others in religious worship. And then the next two sentences are so good that I brought them along for you. He says, but few people manage to sustain the fresh edge of sensitive awareness through the circumstances of their daily life. Instead, they settle for routines and habits. Ooh, that is so meaningful to me. The fresh edge of sensitive awareness, and sustain that. You know, it's saying to me, Edward, don't go to sleep on the job. Don't go on automatic. He writes, few people manage to sustain this awareness. Instead, they settle for routines and habits. You know, thinking the same thoughts that they thought yesterday. That's a powerful message for me right now. I'm asking myself, am I cultivating fresh, sensitive awareness every day? Or am I settling for the same thoughts I thought yesterday, the same reactions, and the same opinions I've always had? I can see that right now, really, especially with discussions about politics. How it is I prefer to talk with people who already have the same opinion as me. It's almost like I enjoy hearing my thoughts confirmed by others. And I can see how truly challenging it is to consider something different, even opposing. So I'm thinking to myself this week, don't settle for old thoughts that are rehashed from yesterday. Okay, and how do I sustain this sensitive, open-minded awareness all day? Well, again, one way is to sit peacefully with an attitude of inner listening. You know, I do it in bed first thing in the morning when I wake up. I used to have to get out of bed because I would fall right to sleep again, you know. But it's been a practice for so long that now it is the most enjoyable part of my morning. It's a pause to observe my mind with an attitude of listening, of watching, not of correcting or fixing, just looking. And the author says that this practice is the beginning of knowing who you are. I understand that because when we observe our minds, we begin to notice those old routines, those habits of thought. You know, they're like recordings on shuffle. And they just start automatically. As soon as awakeness appears, so does the recording. Now, I work out with a friend 3 times a week, but you know, you can't just cycle. You got to do upper body strength too, because it takes a lot of, why am I doing this? That right? It's crazy. It's a lot of work. Anyway, I noticed my friend, he's got a playlist on his cell phone that he puts on when we're working out. And I just noticed recently that it's the same playlist 3 times a week. I know it's in random order, but the other day I found myself singing along with the songs. And when I noticed it, I realized what the lyrics were saying. And I stopped and said, I am not singing along with this. You see, in that moment, I had the experience of waking up, interrupting the routine and dropping the habit. When we observe our minds and we begin to notice the repeated habits of ideas, we can interrupt them and gently drop them. And when we do drop them, what is left is the quiet spaciousness of our true selves. Let me give you his words from the book describing what happens when we sit with an attitude of listening. He writes, "We are taken out of the darkness and brought into the light of awareness, where emotional contradictions can be seen and resolved, and self-defeating patterns can be understood and worked out." It's true, and I know it doesn't come overnight. Many people report to me that when they first begin to meditate, they feel more agitated than relaxed, and they give up. And if a person demands immediate, quick results, this can be very disappointing as a practice, because that moment of being sensitively aware, it won't come with force, and it won't come with worry, and it won't come with willpower, and it won't come with insistence. No, it has a different tone. It comes with patience, with yielding, with self-kindness, and with softness. And when it does come, and we open ourselves up to the presence of infinite intelligence within us, and we ask that presence within us, what is needed of me in this life? Oh, the answer that comes is quite different to the answer that comes if I'm obsessed with the dirt on the mirror or the frost on the windshield. That's why meditation is such an important, even vital step before prayer, because it brings clarity. And I want you to know that there's plenty support for you here to practice in a group setting, which turns out makes meditation easier. This is from our website, www.cslsr.org. We have a Sunday morning meditation at 9:35, Wednesday evening meditation at 6:30 p.m., a heart coherence meditation every Monday at 7 p.m., Saturday meditation group, 10 a.m., and we have a monthly world peace meditation, takes place on the last calendar day of every month at 7 p.m. And we have an annual world peace meditation that's coming up. That's not a typo. It is 4 a.m. on December 31st. And we have an annual New Year's Eve vigil. Now you can visit all of this information on our website again. All of the practice meditations are open to the general public and free of charge, and a beautiful way to practice together. Here's a question I'm asking myself. What happens to a wheel that is missing the spoke called meditation? Well, I think it would be missing that part of the practice in which guidance is likely to speak up. It's not that you can't get by without it. Turns out you can pedal quite far without it. It's just that in the end you might be putting too much expectation on the rest of the spokes. And it shows up as a kind of stress. The stress of having to figure out everything on your own using your intellect. The stress of driving to work with frost on the windshield. I see it. I see the stress in people who rely exclusively on prayer. Don't get me wrong, prayer is magnificent. And when it comes to spiritual living, prayer without meditation is just one-sided. Somebody said it's like baking chocolate chip cookies without using the chocolate chips. Meditation is what refuels our spiritual tank so that we can perform the other spiritual practices, because in my opinion, it is the way to help us discover a personal relationship with the divine. Now here is a meditation practice based on work from our founder, Ernest Holmes, that I invite you to practice with me by breathing in and letting your eyes close if you wish. And here are the words that he uses to invite us into meditation. Let us now let go of everything and enter into the contemplation of peace and good and truth and beauty. Let us become conscious that spirit is all that there is nothing else. Let us feel the certainty of Spirit flowing into us and through us, guiding us, directing us, leading and sustaining us. Let us accept that each one of us exists in the center of this divine Spirit, that we are in the center of its perfect peace and wholeness. let us realize that there can be no necessary obstruction to the movement of Spirit in our lives. Let us know that infinite intelligence within us not only guides us into the ways of knowing the truth, but also into the ways of right action and right choices. And it is to this presence within that we ask this question: what is required of me in this life? I invite you to let the next breath you take be a little deeper than the one before, as we reintroduce movement into our bodies, making ourselves aware and available of the activity in the room.